saying.
And now we're talking poll, like voting poll, right? Or
No,
prayer
no,
poll.
prayer.
Okay, yeah.
All right, guys. Good morning. You're hanging out with Kelly Walker Slaughter, host of Word First 931. We are live in the amazing establishment once again at Tops Frozen Yogurt and Metro Deli. With me as my special guest for today, which I do have a lot lined up, I have the one and only Mr. Coach Matt Turner.
The one and only, yeah.
The one and only.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And the reason, and I always started off like this, the reason I've brought Coach Turner on here, of course, is all the, the season starter
Right.
up, which has not been the best. It's an 05 season, but like we talked off air, you are building this program from ground up since you've been here. And talk a little bit about how you started it, not just starting it in the high school, but starting it with the Little Pioneers. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, obviously this program, in 55, this is our 56th season, squad 56, we've only had 11 winning seasons.
Gotcha.
And
Out of the 56.
Yeah, and those are hard facts to
But it's the fact.
yeah, but that is the where we're at, and I've been a part of this program, better part of my life. Obviously I started in junior high back when I was a junior high and senior high, and then went through some tough times as a player, but then got a chance to go to college and play football because of Pioneer football, and then my heart, as soon as I had the opportunity, it came back, and to wanted to fix it, and and we had some, there's some crazy, things that has happened in the years, and there's so many combined issues that got us where we're at, where was at, and when I got the job, this is my 6th season in. When I got the job, I really wasn't even. I got Coach Ben Matheny had got me back into wrestling, and then of course, if I get around football, it's my it's my drug, I guess. If I'm around it, I gotta be in it. So next thing I know, I was back on the field coaching with Coach Matheny under Tom Moore, and then of course Tom Moore, resigned, left, and the job came open, and I thought, okay,
here we go.
Here's maybe the last opportunity. I'd never had applied, because I always felt that there was somebody better. But anyway, put my name in the hat and got the job, and so started right off the bat, had a good group of kids that, actually had some things that the kids that we got right now didn't have, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, but had some success in the middle school, had some youth football, and of course this is, the squad 51 and squad 52, and I always call my team squad. So that's why I know it's there's the 51st season, 52nd. And I think that first year we went 4-6.
You did.
And we should have went to the playoffs that year, but I got out coached by a legend, Coach Maynard at Cookville. So we didn't make it that year, but the next year the kids bought into it and worked their tail off, and and that's when we went 8-2 on the season, and should have won that Mount Juliet game. I felt like we lost that game because we didn't make it to the playoffs the year before. But as we was talking about earlier, that was through COVID, when COVID hit, and it's
kind of like the forgotten season.
Yeah, and and
forgotten squad, whatever you want to call it.
And I don't know if it's just this county, because this is the only county other than the small time I lived in Chattanooga to compare it to, but I feel like a lot of people have a short-term memory. They forget quickly, either good or bad. However, you know, it is like the season that didn't happen, you
Yeah.
know, because we wasn't in school. We didn't
No.
get to have pep rallies. I don't even think we didn't get to do a homecoming,
No, we
you
didn't.
know, parade and all of that stuff. And then the seating capacity was 1/3, you
Yeah.
know, so
Even graduation had a
yeah,
limitation on
and it was
people that
crazy. And
showed up.
so that season, and that was our first winning season, I think, in 29 years.
Yeah. Think
That
about that.
that's hard to fathom. I mean, you
Yeah.
know, that doesn't even sound. When I've told my coaching buddies or college buddies, they're like, "Do what?" You
Yeah.
know, you didn't say that right.
Like
I was
that's
like,
an
"No."
anomaly. What?
That I mean,
This
even
doesn't happen.
the law of probability that shouldn't even be the
Yeah.
case. So that's what we're trying to overcome. And now, granted, hey, I could not have done it without that class. You know,
Hmm.
that class was very, you know, but what was a lot of people don't realize, we was still outgunned and outmatched in a lot of games. But
Hmm.
those kids had a lot of grit and just and it was awesome, something to build on. You know, and I remember, you know, that's when we started with the flag football.
Yes.
You know, because we had a youth football kind of going on.
But it wasn't consistent
Yeah,
to
you know,
me because I didn't hear a lot about it, and I apologize, but back then I didn't.
no,
You didn't hear a lot about it.
well, and of course, at that point, I feel like a lot of time, and a lot of youth football is ran by fathers.
Yeah.
And so if you got a group of dads that are, you know, either educated or have the
Ability. Yeah.
means, you know, whether financially or whatever, to invest a lot of time, that depends on how well your youth
Yeah.
program is. However, the youth program at the time was pretty fragile, and COVID,
Yeah. Kind of
uh,
messed it up.
well, killed it pretty
Yeah.
much. You know, they wasn't able to overcome it. Not, you know, however, so our youth kind of, the kids that we got
It's
at the high
a
school were
dying
missing that.
period.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, but anyway, you know, fast forward
To now.
to now, you know, and it's crazy. It was tough, that the squad 53,
Yeah.
the team, you know, that was a tough year. You
Yeah.
know, we ended up going 1-9, but we lost 5 games with a total of 12 points. You
Yeah.
know, I talked to you about that
Yeah.
before the show. You
Yeah.
know, uh, first 2 games, you know, I
Yeah.
think we lost on one on the last play of the game, a 2 point
Yeah.
conversion, and
I
you know, and
called it.
that
I
just
remembered I called it the Titans game because like when I think of the Titans miracle, like oh my god, we
yeah,
just
yeah, we were
1 yard,
right
like right there.
there, and
Yeah.
they was both on the road, you know, and
Hmm.
that is especially a program that is learning how to compete.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to win, but to
Everybody.
win, you got to learn how to compete.
Yeah, we have to get, like you said, the fundamentals. We have to know how to do the basics
Yeah,
so we can build on that to
yeah,
make them stronger. Whether that's throwing, catching, the running, the conditioning. I
yeah,
mean, and that's one big thing we talked about off air is like the kids working towards that goal by whether it's weight training and things
yeah.
like that.
Yeah, so I mean, you know, in our system, we're competing against teams that, you know, one, have an established youth program. So
Yeah,
you got kids that are running the same system,
yeah,
all the way up through elementary to middle
middle school.
school, and then by the high school, you know, they know the basics,
They're
they know the
and
fundamentals.
they're like they're big boys,
Well,
man.
and that's the other aspect and it's something that I feel like not only I, but the other coaches prior to me, was how important weight training is in the school day.
Yeah.
We had it when I was in high school, but for some reason, you know, there's all these new, you know, I don't know how it came to be, but we didn't have true weights
Oh yeah,
lifting. You know, when we went to school, we had an athletic period. If
that's
you're the
it.
athlete, at the end of the
Yeah,
day, you went to so we just now got that back installed.
which is great.
Oh, it's a huge step.
Yeah.
However, it's not something that's going to equate to
Yeah.
success on Friday
Yeah.
nights, right? Yet.
This one season having that put in now, it's not going to change
No,
overnight.
because we've only had it. It's really just been in effect for a month and a half.
Right.
You know, and people don't realize, they're like, well, what was it? Young lift after? Well, yes, we do. However, we're competing against teams that have got it installed for their freshmen.
Hmm.
Their freshman class are
For
coming in.
yes.
You know, Josh Harris is our offense coordinator.
Hmm.
He came from Oakland High
Okay.
School. So, you know, and he'd been there for 15 years. He's got 5 state championship rings, been to the state
So he
championships. So
knows.
he's been on that side of the spectrum, you know, and
Yeah.
obviously we're on the other side. And that's
Yeah.
why I was so excited when I was able to
Get him.
get him on
Hmm.
board. You know, and he's coaches wrestling as well. So, however, but he's been a great resource to say, hey, what are y'all doing? What was they doing, or what are they doing, and
That
what are
we're
we
not.
not doing? And it's amazing that we are doing so many things.
Yeah.
However, there's a few key opportunities that we don't have in place.
Right.
Even their middle school has a 8th grade athletics weight training.
Really?
Yes.
Wow, they're starting that
Yeah, I
early.
mean, because literally right now, as and Coach Matheny's does a great job at the
Mhm.
high school, but
Yeah.
we have a little bitty weight room underneath that old
Gym.
gym at the
Yeah.
middle school.
I remember that
Yeah,
gym.
same
Yeah.
place,
Yeah.
so trying
I had
to
coached more in basketball, and the only time we ever did any type of weight training, which was nothing, like
right.
I not like what y'all have now. They would I can't even explain it. It looked like, if you ever watched that Planet Fit, no, not the Planet Fitness, that movie with Ben Stiller.
Oh,
Oh,
average Joe's.
it's like the average Joe's gym. That's what it kind of
And it still
made me
is. I mean,
think.
it's all and Ben's done a great job taking all the high school hand-me-downs and
Yes.
creating one. However, the space is so tight. Like during summer, he's having to split his group up, half in
Oh
here,
my gosh,
half on
yeah.
the field, because
But these things are being implemented so when they do get to high school
right?
that we can be competing with all these big teams.
Yeah, and everybody's talking. Oh, well, we're 6A. We've got 1,900 students, 2,000
Yeah.
students out there. Yes, we are, but we're competing. We're one county with one school. We're competing against either Rutherford County or Wilson County that's got multiple 6A
Yeah.
programs, multiple
Multiple.
6As, multiple schools, and which the weight training, the youth football, and we've got a lot of headway right now on getting elementary flag football in the spring. So there's a lot of good discussions going on
Yeah.
about that. You know how because we used to always done softball,
Yeah.
and I mean also we'll continue to do that, but we like, hey, because NFL's got a great unit lesson plan
Mhm.
that PE teachers can teach to
Oh, heck yeah.
everybody, all the flag aspects of it,
Yeah.
and then maybe say, all right, who wants to be
Yeah.
on a team? And then
Because
so
in
now we'll have
college,
East
I was
Side
on a
versus
flag football
Dearborn.
team.
Yeah,
It was
that's
fun. It was called, I think, Powder Puffs
yeah,
for
yeah.
that's what they called for the girls' football flag.
And then of course now TSSAA in the high school, Coach Paul Martin is going to be the first head coach of the girls flag football.
Oh, that's
So it went from
awesome.
powder puff to a legit
League.
TSSAA
That's
sport. Yeah.
crazy. Okay.
So that's going to be exciting. So
Yeah.
that's what's really
Yeah.
able to, and they done that in wrestling a long about 10 years ago
Mhm.
as far as bringing on girls wrestling
Yeah.
because the wrestling numbers across the state of Tennessee was going down. And I thought, well, let's get the
Girls on it.
older girls out
Yeah.
there, or let's get the girls out there, and then the brothers, and it's worked.
Yeah.
And of course now girls wrestling is the fastest, largest growing sport
Yeah.
in the state,
Right.
and rightfully so. And of course, and they're even talking about how there may be women's flag football in the Olympics in the near
Now I
future.
was gonna say because I was hearing potentially
Yeah.
flag football, pickleball.
Yeah.
There's a lot of sports coming up that you would not expect.
Yep.
But with that said, whether we're winning or losing, whether it's last season or this season, I wanted you to come on because guys, he is implementing things behind the scenes. You just don't see it. And to address everything in the room about potentially losing your job in case you don't
Ah.
play. I'm not going to say the player's name because we don't have to. But one thing that I love about you since you've been a coach for the Pioneers is you cannot stand people talking ugly about your players.
Well, no, I mean anybody that anybody talks about a high school student or
Yeah.
something, it's different when you're talking about a professional NFL athlete or maybe even a
Yes.
collegiate athlete because they're getting
Right.
paid now.
Yeah.
But these kids, and it's all my kids, and I'm going to defend them to the day I die. And
Yeah.
and you're a coward if you get on any kind of format and
Yeah.
talk about somebody else's kid,
Yeah.
uh, and in a negative way,
Yeah.
because these
100.
kids, man, they are. It's unfortunate that we do have 1,900 students out there, and we've only got about 40 varsity players, and we've got about 30 freshmen right now. So we got a total of 70 kids that have said, "Hey, I want to sign up, and I want to buy into this." You know, and if you're out there dogging a kid, you're just scum of the earth.
Yeah.
So and I'm gonna fight you. You know, now you can say whatever you want to about me. I'm an adult and I can handle it. And my contacts are out there, and you can feel free to come by and talk with me. And I mean, you know, and that's the thing. You know, we was talking about it earlier. I've really been. Uh, I love the Ted Lasso show.
Yes, if y'all have not seen Ted Lasso, it's the best show ever on Apple.
Yeah. And you know, and he talks about be curious and not judgmental.
Same.
You know, so and I feel like I need to explain what that means to the same people that may be thinking it's okay to ridicule a teenage kid that's
just trying to learn
and
building up their kids in high school. They're building up to be some type of the person they're supposed to be.
Right.
You are not raising kids, you're raising adults. You're making these kids become adults.
You know, and that's I mean, you know, I don't know. You know, I know and I told you this off the show. I know I know I'm gonna be evaluated by my win-loss record.
Right. And that's unfortunate because you're amazing at what you do with these kids.
And I appreciate that, but that's the name of the game. That's how it goes. However, my job or the way I evaluate my program is at the end of the day, what kind of am I doing the best to give these kids the opportunity to be the best version of themselves? You know, when I get invited to weddings, and when I get when I'm called pretty quickly after a new baby's born, or because they want to share those moments with me, you know, and then when I see the success that my former players have had from all the way back from 01 to 02, you know, my first year coaching, you know, that's what I evaluate, you know, and in today's world with as tough and cruel as this world can be, you know, and that's what I told them the Friday night, you know, I mean, we're sitting there and we got beat 65-0.
Yeah.
There's nothing fun about that.
No.
However, you know, the amount of love that I have for those kids, I can't express it to them. And I told them, I said, one day you'll understand where I'm coming from.
As they get older,
they'll learn. But whatever this adversity that we're going through will make them better human beings.
And it's like you were saying, like in rural communities, when it comes to football, you know, there's these waves that people go through. And like we said, the year of 50 or squad 51 and 52, that was on your high. And now you feel kind of like you're at the end of the wave.
I believe so, you know, because, you know, going back to, you know, I told you, because a lot of people's like, well, why are we not winning? Well, in high school football, I told you, it's Jimmy's and Joe's.
Yeah.
What team has the best Jimmy's and Joe's? Is my Jimmy's better than your Joe's?
Yeah.
You know, and fortunately in the 51st and 52nd squads, we had better Jimmy's and Joe's than most teams we played. Especially, you know, we had a sensational player with CJ Taylor.
Yeah.
And his competitiveness and athleticism brought up all of his teammates.
It just takes one person to bring
and everybody's going to rise, you know, and that was a great thing, you know, because, you know, Case and Holder and Ryland and Clay Thompson and then we had Dirty Doug and all them linemen and stuff, you know, they supported CJ and raised him up and wanted and was excited for that. So they brought all that up, you know, and then, like I said, that season felt like it didn't happen.
Yeah.
The last few classes didn't get to experience it, you know, because we literally quarantined ourselves off, you know, because we was doing all the contact tracing and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So they didn't get to be in the locker room when that winning was going on and taking place. And then a lot of the fans wasn't in the stands because we was 1/3 capacity. However, you know, and we did, and our kids that are fighting their tails off right now to, didn't have the in-school weight training. They didn't have youth football. You know, so there is some things that they're trying to overcome that they cannot control.
Right.
You know, and that's the frustrating part. So, you know, I mean, I feel like because now, and even the things that we've talked about, the youth football, and getting weight training back in the high school, that is not going to um, that is not going to equate to instant success. This Friday, next Friday, it may not even happen next year.
Right.
But obviously,
You're
they should be
building it.
there'll
It's
be a
building.
trend of and Coach Matheny, he's the freshman group that we got right now had success in the middle school.
Yeah.
And it's amazing what kind of different grit and
The
swagger they have,
turnaround.
and you see it coming,
Yeah.
and but you cannot fault any of the
Yeah.
kids, the seniors, juniors, sophomores,
Yeah.
for the lack of things that they didn't have,
Yeah, and I feel like I can say this because I went to Warren County. I've seen the Warren County, and I hate to call it like this, but the revolving door of the
Yep.
coaches that we've had throughout each season. And when it doesn't go certain people's way, which 9 times out of 10, those people that are commenting have never either played sports or have never been even have a kid in sports,
Yep.
maybe, or maybe they wanted to do it but they just couldn't get to that point. But my thing is, I feel like we need to hold on to people like you, like Coach Matheny. And I say that as somebody in Warren County that's lived here all my life and that's seen this. I just feel like I'm sick and tired of the revolving door. And if we could just, stop the negative and be like Ted Lasso and be curious and
Not
stuff
judgmental,
and
be
not
positive.
judgmental and give somebody a decent chance
Yeah.
to move this team, because I can tell that you put your heart and soul in this. It is not about the money for this man. I think you would rather go broke at this point, right?
I am going broke.
But he does have a side job. And I don't know I don't know what it's actually called, but he helped my son fix his motorcycle, and now it runs. So it's not about that, but you put so much blood, sweat, and tears into this program that I feel like if something happens where they decide that this is your last season, I really think it's a big mistake. And I'm going to say that on air. I really God do, because there's not a lot of coaches that have your personality and the way you communicate with the children.
Well, I mean, of course, I'm sure people beg to differ, and people will be like, "Oh, well, Coach Turner's going on there to try to save his job." Well,
no, he's not.
no.
I'm the one that called him and I said, I want you on my show because I want to talk to you.
And that's what I appreciate about you, because I felt with the moment, and I was in a bad time when you called me.
I could tell.
I'm trying to think how to approach this. I'd been up all night washing jerseys on Friday night, actually into Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Scrolling through all these comments,
Yeah,
trying to debate whether I was fixing to go to jail, because I mean,
and then I call.
Yeah, and then so I try to lay down, catch a little sleep, just to get up to go be at the stadium for the youth football and things like that. And you called, and I was thinking, and I still, I don't know. This is new territory for anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's what's so frustrating when you see these kids that work so hard, the coaching staff that work so hard, the parents that are invested, and all of the state, everybody that's invested. This ain't the results we want.
No.
We're not out there wanting to do that.
No one likes losing.
No,
but that's part of the game. But losing also can build character.
That's
to
right.
show the difference of what we need to improve on.
And then it's really tough when you're hearing. I mean, the squeaky wheel gets the grease.
Yeah.
Especially when you're hearing these comments, or there's people out there making comments that wasn't even at the game.
Yeah. They just see the score.
Yeah, they see the score and they go this. They don't realize that the Gallatin coach was kind of a turd, because he's literally running the score up because he's trying to do what he thinks is best for his team.
Unfortunately, there is coaches out there like that. And it's not just in football, but yes.
And I literally, he was in town last night with the JV freshman game with his bunch, and I said, "Man, that was rough. Why'd you? I mean, we was literally putting some younger kids and freshmen out there, and he had his number one offense out there, and threw a fade ball.
Yeah.
At the end, with 2 seconds to go at the halftime, it's 44-0, and then brings them out the whole third quarter as number ones, and he's like, "Well, we just really hadn't had really much success, and we just really needing them." And whatever. However, but if you wasn't at the game, you didn't really see that,
right.
and or you may not see the mismatches in size.
Yeah.
We have got some of the most athletic kids. However, some of our guys are just not
They're just not
they
there
don't have
yet.
the size.
Yeah.
You know, whether
And they can
sometimes
be
it's
there. Yeah.
genetics, or sometimes it's just the lack of the weight room that we have. We
Mhm.
just now starting to get implemented.
Yeah.
And just because you go to the weight room for a month, don't
Yeah.
mean you're, this is a long term goal.
Yeah.
Um, uh,
But with that said, before I have to let you go, because we could talk for
yeah,
hours about this, because that's why I know this is like your heart and soul. You're really in this for the kids, for them to get a win of building character, building this.
yeah. I mean,
You
like I said, my record's going. I mean, my how I'm was perceived as a coach to the public, I'll be on my win loss record, and
Yeah.
that's fine. And however, I judge what kind. My number one goal is to give these kids, the men and women of my team, the best opportunity and try to teach them to be the best version of themselves.
themselves.
You
And
know,
you feel like you're
and
doing that right
well,
now.
I mean, yeah, of course. I mean, I know I am. And it's not easy. And it's definitely not easy when the community doesn't have the buy-in of being positive.
Yeah.
And that's what I ask you guys in Pioneer Nation, to have that buy-in.
Yeah.
And buy-in is just having that success and understanding that
Building them
this
up.
coaching staff, these players, no one out there is intentionally trying. I'm not never trying to make a bad call just
Yeah.
because I want to be a bad call,
Yeah.
So,
So
and same
get
thing with these
together.
kids.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
need to unite as a community, whether you love football or not. We need to build up these kids. We need to be united and not divided.
Yeah.
And that's what my show is all about, is uniting our community and bringing everybody together. Because the last thing I want to do is have a divide, because
Yeah.
we can only grow when we all work together. Because at the end of the day, I always say this, no matter if you're Republican, Democrat, Independent, whether you like pink, purple, or yellow, at the end of the day, we care about human beings. We
Yeah. I
care
mean,
about
and
each other.
I feel like that's what my job as a coach, as a teacher,
Yeah.
or anybody that has influence is, we got to create better human beings.
Yes. Because
And
once you're done, because eventually you're going to retire, or we're not going to be on this planet,
no.
we don't make, we may not be here after 50 years or whatever. So we want to raise these kids up to maybe one day take the place of what we're doing,
Yep.
because we don't want our community to die.
No, no,
So
I don't know. The world needs more love in it
I agree.
instead of hate,
Less hate.
and more positivity.
Be curious, not judgmental.
I like it,
I love it.
but
Well,
I do appreciate you giving me opportunity.
I'm glad you answered the phone. I didn't know if you were going to or not. Chris is like, it might be too soon to call him. I'm like, no, I feel like I need to call him like right now.
Yeah,
And so when this is how I live my life. If I feel like something needs to be taken care of right now, I don't wait a week or
and
two
I
for it to
and
die.
that's
It
and
needs to be
yeah,
hit right on. And so that's why I wanted to call you.
and I appreciate that. And it's a lonely world
Yeah,
right now.
unfortunately.
Especially when well, they say heavy is the head that wears the crown. I'm
Yeah.
the head man, and I've got I mean, you was the first one that actually called and say,
I
"You
know.
all right?
Yeah.
You want to get out and help?"
Yes.
And that's
That's
what
the first thing I said. Are you okay?
yeah,
I go, he was like, well,
yeah.
and I could tell in your voice, I'm like, oh God, Chris was right. I shouldn't have
No,
called.
no, and I mean, but that's
Yeah.
what it is. I mean,
Yeah.
because that helps me, when you do feel like you've got people that
Yeah.
are going through the trenches with you.
Yeah, I want you to know, as a community, as I'm not speaking for everybody in the community, but as far as my circles go, we are full in support of you, and to see
Well,
what I
and I
can't wait to
appreciate
see
that,
what
and
it
that's a
is.
reason I chose to do this.
Yeah.
Me and Autumn, we don't have any kids.
Yeah.
I've never had no personal. I feel like everybody has a personal agenda or a personal
Yeah.
thing for why they do what they do.
Yeah.
Mine is purely just the passion, and because I was able to uh, marry Autumn,
Mm-hmm.
and I wouldn't have had that chance if I didn't play Pioneer football.
There you
So,
go.
and get to go to college
Yeah.
and give these guys an opportunity to get out and see the world.
Yeah.
And Warren County is always going to be here. Go out and explore the world,
Yeah.
do this, and then come back and give back.
Come back. I did. I went to Clarksville. I went to Austin Peay. And then I was like, no. And I went to Chattanooga for a brief, like, little puff. And then I was like, you know what? I want to live in my hometown. I'm a community.
And it's special here,
Yeah, it is.
And I think
you realize that, though, when you go to all these other places, really.
And and then the flip side is it's also unique in the things that we're having, that we're having to try to overcome and change,
Right.
But I feel like,
it's coming.
It's happening.
It's happening.
But it's not, then the world of instant gratification and stuff like that. It's it's a process, and we're trying to fix a systematic problem that has been in place with the lack of this or the lack of that, or the revolving door of coaches and whatnot, and the thing is, if I can leave this place better than I found it, with things implemented, I told whoever, if they can find a true football coach, I'll come in. I'll drive the bus for him. I mean, I'm already driving the bus.
There you go.
So
driving the bus, you're cleaning the jerseys.
So, but and that's just because I want these kids to have the best opportunity they can.
I love it.
So,
well, thank you.
But I appreciate
it on my show. I love you, man.
I know that.
If you ever need me,
I appreciate it.
You're literally like right next door to my family.
Yeah,
so
and I'm excited. Pioneer Nation. We're at home next 2 weeks. Got homecoming next week.
So come out and show support.
Yeah,
homecoming dances this weekend.
Is it this weekend?
It is this weekend.
Yeah, because then we're going fall break.
Tree City Marching Band. No, Tree City Marching Festival is also this weekend with 12 marching bands. So come
and hopefully that I'm leaving here now to go start working on the field, because I think it may be a rainy, messy. That's the only thing I'm worried about this weekend. But
come out and support.
Shoot, get your umbrellas and
all the haters that have not been to a game. If you want to say something again, go to a game. I can say that because this is my show. Come to the game.
And the thing is, my contact's out there, and
if you want to put it out there right now, go for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's on the face. I think our Facebook, the number on there is on there. Turner M at warrenschools.com.
There you
go. But I mean, feel free to come in, because somebody may have that good idea. I'm never going to bring
a great idea that you think he's not doing. He will listen to you.
I'm not going to bring an umbrella to a brainstorm,
Right.
So, and that's where I feel like it takes us all, but the buy-in, we've got to invest and buy in as a whole from top down. So,
but thank you.
I appreciate it.
Anytime, man. I love you, man.
Good deal.
Hey, come back anytime.
Go Pioneers.
There you go. Coach Matt Turner, everybody. Thank him for coming in this morning. Christy Stubblefield said, let's go Pioneers. So there's one. Thank you. But now I got some good fellas with me. I have with me Brian Carr is back. And then he's brought a friend, which can sit in the high chair.
I'll sit in the high chair.
Okay. I call it the high chair. But, of course, with it being school-based today, I asked Brian and his friend, scoot on in. They can't see you, brother. I don't bite. I did forget my deodorant, but I do not bite. But with that said, see you at the poll is tomorrow, and as well as seen you at the poll is tomorrow, correct?
That's right.
Okay, let's talk about the first one. So, see you at the poll is first thing in the morning at the Warren County High School, or where's it all at?
Well, it's going to be both at Warren County High School, and at Warren County Middle School, and there's also going to be a special one at Centertown Elementary. And so these are student-led programs, and I'll tell you who's best to be able to tell a little bit more, because he's one of the coordinators. This is Mr. Robert Shells from Christ Community Church. And I'm proud to be working with him. He's one of our guys who does student ministry at the middle school and at the high school. And so he can give us the best answers
for that. Okay. So now when I remember to see you at the poll, I don't remember if there's any preachers that were there. I just remember teachers, because back then it wasn't as it was more flexible, I guess I could say. And so with that said, we would always just be called out, right before the bell is, and then say a prayer, do the anthem, and then do a quiet time, a moment of silence, I think is what we did. And then somebody read from the Bible, and then we went back to class. Is that something similar, or how has it changed?
Yeah, well, the reason that is, Kelly, is because See You at the Pole started in 1990 with a group of kids who weren't happy with their surroundings. They weren't happy with their government, with their school, with their community. Right. And so they got together one morning and they're like, hey, let's pray. And went around the flagpole and they prayed together, and it caught foothold. And now it's a nationwide thing, and it's going to be in every school across the nation pretty much. There's going to be schools, and every school that you go to, they're going to have a group of kids around the flagpole, and they're going to be praying for their community, their schools, and their country.
And I'm also assuming, like, people can get invited up if anybody wants to join in?
Yes.
How does that work?
So it's actually designed to be student led.
Okay.
So you've got students leading students through prayer and stuff like that. So, and it's the same here in Warren County. We'll have students reading a Bible verse. Last year we had a young man just went full out sermon on us, but
hey, if it happens, it happens.
Let's go.
Yeah, when you feel led by the Spirit, you go with it.
That's right. And so, like I said, we'll be at the high school and the middle school. A lot of us just like to get involved and encourage the kids and just set them up for success. We want to have all the resources and stuff. I know at the high school we're going to do some worship. I'm pretty sure at the middle school we're going to do some worship. I'm pretty sure Irving College does it too, and East Side, they meet at their flagpole.
Yeah, Covenant sometimes. I know Covenant does.
It's all over Warren County and all over the state and all over the nation for that matter.
Yeah. And I think and again, it's like when I was talking to Coach Turner, and we're not raising kids, we're raising adults, and so we're trying to implement the good things to show them this, to build them up,
Well, that's the beautiful thing about See You at the Pole. And to piggyback on Coach Turner, I mean, bless his heart. Mm-hmm. People are just looking at this through one perspective, at a wins and losses.
Yeah.
There's so much more that goes on with not just the football program, but all the auxiliary programs that work through the football program. Football might be the meat or the entree of the platter, but you got kids that do band, color guard, present the colors with the ROTC, the pep squad, the cheerleaders, the dance team. It's so communal, and that's the beautiful thing about See You at the Pole, is that you got every one of these kids representing different fields of the social spectrum that are coming and talking about Jesus with each other. So it's such a great and exciting. And look, if we're not excited as the adults that are kind of, I don't want to say overseeing, but just get the awesome opportunity to watch young people share Christ. Yeah. I don't know what it's going to get to you if you can't see that. So,
and the other thing is, the kids are always looking at adults anyways to see how they should be. And if, like you said, if we're not excited, we go in there looking like all sad and mopey, they're like, okay, well, I shouldn't be excited about this, So again, but I think this is great. And another cool aspect that you were telling me about last night, which I can ask you about, Robert, is the seeing you at the pole. This is new, right? This has to be new.
Well, I'm not sure how new it is. I'm fairly new. I've only been here for about a year and a half now. But we did it last year.
Okay.
And it's gonna be a continuous thing that we do for years on out.
Yeah.
But it's gonna start at 5:30. And the idea is to encourage kids like, hey, I was at the high school, you were at the middle school.
I saw you at the
I saw you at the pole this morning. Yeah. And and we come together, not as a church, not as my youth group or your youth group, or not my school or your school, but as a Warren County community, we come together and we can pray together, we can worship together, we can love Christ and love others.
No matter what different aspects, like you said, whether we're from the band or from softball or whatever, if you want to do sports, like we're all part of this community.
That's right.
And I think that's so amazing. So we already know where See You at the Pole is going to be at. Where is saw you or seen you at the pole going to be at?
Seeing you at the pole rally is going to be over here at the lot downtown.
Okay, the green lot?
Yes.
The green grassy lot, the grass lot that we have tried to figure out what it was called?
Yes, Warren County. We have to come up with a collective name for the lot.
It's called the lot. It's called the lot.
Can we call it the community square or the community lot or the...
I don't know, but we need to get something because we have. When I say the lot to some folks, they think of over by Security Federal.
That's the first thing I said.
So we have 2 lots. We need to name the lots. And some people call this the Paul Holder lot.
I called it that.
Or the lot across from the fountain. But that's where it's going to be, across from the fountain. And Robert can tell you more about what they're going to do. But I got to be a part of it last year as a witness. I took my kids.
Was it amazing?
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. So I encourage all the parents, you don't have to participate. You can just watch and you're going to be moved.
Yeah.
It's such
Bring
a
your lawn chair and sit and watch the fun.
Yeah.
So what are we going to be doing on the lot, the grassy lot?
So we're going to start about 5:30. There's going to be worship. There's going to be a youth worship team leading worship.
Okay.
Then there's going to be a short message. And then after the message, there's going to be 9 different prayer stations set up from the lot all the way up to the clock, right? And we're going to inhabit that entire square there. And we're just giving kids an opportunity to pray for different real-time things.
Issues.
That's going on in the community, in the world, in the country.
That's great.
And it'll give the kids an opportunity to spend time with Christ and to really reflect on. Prayer is a powerful tool.
Yeah.
And if we have a relationship with Christ, then we should use that tool.
Yeah.
Right?
And I always think, from my perspective, when kids, and I say they're kids still, but when kids or young adults are praying, I just feel like God listens to them a lot more than me sometimes because, those are genuine prayers, and when I hear my son pray and things like that, I'm like, okay, he's doing good, and encouraging kids to come out, guys, as parents, it all starts at the home front, first and foremost. And if you're not implementing, whether it's Christian like values or some type of positive values in your child, they're just I feel like they're going to go down the wrong path. But with that said, you as a parent should be responsible. So if you have a child out there that needs some guidance, this is a great opportunity. You don't have, if they don't have a see you at the pole, come to the see you at the pole. These are opportunities to meet kids that, because, I feel like that's one thing in my generation we kind of missed is we didn't have enough opportunities for youth led stuff and or youth events like this. We had them at churches, don't get me wrong, but there's times I'm like, well, I go to church on Wednesday and Sunday already. Like, let's do something outside the box. And if you don't know me, I'm extra. I like to be a little extra. So, so to get those kids' attentions, if you have a child out there that needs some good friends or good leadership, come out to these opportunities. And I will also say this, and Brian will back me up on it. If your school is not doing a see you at the pole and is interested in doing one, they can contact one of you guys to get that going, right?
Yes. And we know it's hard for elementary schools. So we tried to have one at Bobby Ray a few years ago. And because of the logistics of working with children, and that's another big part of this, is that at these middle school ages and they have a little more autonomy. They can do some things. We want to encourage the parents to follow the rules of the school system. Don't get in stop traffic. They still have to get kids there. And one of the things about our bus riders, a lot of times our bus riders don't get the whole opportunity. So if you can bring children to school early that day, like I said, we're going to start about 7 o'clock in the morning. And we're going to try to feed them the best we can. And it might be Little Debbie's, honey buns, things like that.
Sugar is the best, wake you up.
But if you can get up early and have a good breakfast, that's even better. But from a logistical standpoint, there's still school going on. But this is a great way for your child to not be separated by a church or religion. Just be a Christian. You can just share Jesus and you can just pray. And that's a beautiful thing. And we need more of that in Warren County. We need more about that around the world. So
I agree. I love it. And I cannot wait to see the huge turnout tomorrow morning to tomorrow night. I'm going to try to come out But I got two toddlers, so
Well, something my friends and I like to do. We have a ministry called McMinnville Area Youth Ministry.
Okay.
It's on Facebook. You can find it. And it's unfortunately across our country. You look at churches and you see a lot of it's all about building my church bigger, building this church bigger, building, and everybody looks
more
at numbers.
numbers. Yeah.
Yeah, but what my friends and I like to do is it's not so much about building our churches up. It's more about getting these young people addicted to Christ, or getting these young people plugged into good, loving relationships before they get addicted to other things and stuff. And so if we can get them off the streets, we can get them in a loving relationship with Christ, then
they're set for life.
Right.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Is there anything I have not asked you?
No, I think we're good as far as, encouraging parents to be able to get their children to these events. And if you can stick around and stay, all the schools shut down pretty much at 7:40, 7:45.
Yeah.
So we need to get off the premises and let them conduct their daily activities and routine. So we're very grateful for the Warren County schools that allow us to do this, and thankful for the students that step up and lead these things. So, and Kelly, thank you so much for allowing us to come in today.
Thanks for messaging me. I tell everybody, just message me and I'll make it happen. I told Brian, I was like, well, hey, if y'all want to come in at 9, come on. Because that's what I'm all about. If there's something, I say this all the time on the show too. If there's something important in this community that you or somebody that's involved in, then it's important to me. And so if we need to get it out there, because I feel like the more our community knows of what's going on, the better this community can be. And and while Brian's here, I want to capitalize on this because I always do, because I don't want to forget the dates. I always forget. I wanted to know, how was it a huge success, y'all's National Day of Registration Day over there?
Oh, it was incredible. And listen, if we only registered one person, this one story I'm going to tell you real quickly, it was worth it all.
Yeah.
So there was a gentleman, and I didn't get his name because I didn't officially register him, but I witnessed everything that went down. He's in his 70s. He pulls up in a truck with a camper on it. So we know automatically he's an older gentleman.
Yeah.
He's got oxygen tubing in his nose, and he's got a handheld concentrator in one hand and a cane in the other.
Okay.
He makes his way over to the tent, and we don't have chairs. Pretty much everybody fills it out at the table. But we gave him one of our chairs to sit down and help him fill out his voter registration, in his 70s, and has never voted. But this election is so important to him that he drove with his concentrator to get downtown and get registered to vote. So just that story alone.
Amazing. Oh. And he's 70?
In his 70s.
Oh my gosh. Again, I can't speak on how important voting is for our country. This is one of the most important roles as a citizen that we have. And if you have not registered to vote, we're going to say this again, and I'm going to talk louder. The deadline is October the 7th. And if you are not registered by then, you don't get to vote in the general election coming up, y'all. And if you wait, because your birthday is after October the 7th, if you are 18 years and older, right? Or if you turn 18
by November 5th.
By November 5th.
You can still register to vote.
Right now.
Right now, yes.
Okay. And that's how you have to do it. Because if you don't register before October the 7th, moms and dads, if you have an 18-year-old that has a birthday between now and November the 5th,
yes,
you need to register.
Yes.
I have to look at him to make sure I say this right.
You're doing great.
Yeah. I'm going to put it back in my newsletter, but there's several ways you can register to vote. One, if you go to Susie Davenport and those fine ladies at the election commission office, and they will help you fill out the form as well if you have any questions. Number two, thanks to our Secretary of the State, he came up with this Go Vote TN, and it's a cool little app. You download the app at home, guys, and you register.
Yes.
You're done. Also, too, I always have to throw this in here before, too. If you have moved locations, whether you came from California to Tennessee or whether you moved from Shellsford Road to Mumford Street, or Morford Street. I keep calling it Mumford. You have to change your address to make sure you vote at the correct place. You don't want to miss those opportunities of registering to vote. And October the 7th is less than.
Oh, that's just 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
Yes.
I was going to say 2 weeks away. I want to double check myself. Yeah. There it is right there. So, yeah, like 2 weeks. It's crazy. So, again, please go out and register to vote. And if whoever is running our country, it should be important to you guys. So what I always say at the end of that is vote for the person that you think is going to best represent our country. And there is nothing wrong with voting for something that somebody else doesn't agree to, because that is the glory of being in a free country and being able to vote. Okay. And I think it's great that we have that opportunity, because if we were all the same, we would be boring.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. But is there anything else before I let you guys go that's coming up?
Well,
I know you're always a busy man.
Okay. Well, I got something from Terry Bell last night.
Okay.
And on September 28th, and I think it's at 12:30 to 1 o'clock, our local National Guard unit is deploying for the Middle East.
Oh.
And so they're going to be taking Highway 55 to the interstate. And as a community, these guys are going to be gone for at least 10 months.
Yeah.
They're going to miss Christmas. They're going to miss home. Yeah. And so they're encouraging everyone that can to go out on Highway 55 and set up American flags, signs, whatever. But give them a
set up your car with the lights going and beep, beep, beep.
Yes, and there's going to be a convoy. The police department and sheriff's office are going to lead them in a convoy to the interstate. Yeah. And so if we can, and I'll get you the information.
Please do. But, that's new to me. So
yeah, well, they just found out about it last night.
Okay.
But we talk about, and we're very fortunate because Robert is a veteran here. We're very grateful for Robert and his service for our country, and we're so thankful for these men and women who are going to defend our freedom. Yeah. And they're our people. Yeah. They live in our community, so we want to do, and that's not very much. If we can just spend an hour and wait on the side of the highway and wave to them and just celebrate them and their sacrifice for our freedom. Yeah. So yes, that's coming out, and we'll put that on Warren first. We'll get that out and get the officials as far as the
logistics. It starts at what time?
I want to say 12:30 to 1 o'clock. Okay. I say I've got a sheet over there, and I brought it with me just in case.
After I get off the show, which when y'all get out of here, I'll don't leave. Just don't leave. I'll cut the show early because it's already 9:43.
I will say from experience, my first deployment was with the Mississippi National Guard, and it does make a lot of difference when you see the supportive community. Yeah. You know, when you go over there and you're working, you're doing your stuff. And then when you come back and you see the support of the community, but just knowing while you're there, you remember the flags and the people and the community out supporting you. It makes it worth it. You know, it makes it easier to get through some of those.
And it reminds you what you're fighting for.
Right.
Yeah. You're fighting for your community, your country. I love it. With that said, it has been a jam-packed show. I absolutely love it. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Robert. Thanks, Coach Turner, for coming in this morning. Again, if you have any questions or concerns or issues, always call me at 931-305-0869 or text me, whatever is easiest, or follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. You can also follow me on Spotify, Amazon, and Apple and Audible as well on the show. But with that, take care. God bless. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys. And always remember, Warren County, keep it first.